So sad.
What is up, everybody? Oh, you have the executive consultants on. I am one of your hosts, the executive consultant, and that is Evil Dose, your other host for Monday Night Raw, and we are bringing you the Monday Night Raw edition of Unpopular Review. Raw just went off the air about 9-10 minutes ago. Evil Dose, are you just as excited for this week's Raw as you were last week's edition of Monday Night Raw?
I'm not hearing you, but hello, everyone, and thank you, audience. Welcome to the show. Hopefully, you can hear me. But I do want to thank the audience. We've been continuing to see 20% week over week increase in viewership on this very show. So, yay us and yay you.
All right, technical difficulties on his end.
Okay.
Yeah, go out, come back in. Let's see if we can try this again. But thank you so much for inviting us into your phones, television sets, Xbox. I don't know how you're watching us, but thanks so much for watching us. Monday Night Raw Review, San Jose, California, the Fallout edition of the Elimination Chamber this past weekend. And, we'll talk about it. Start off, in my opinion, with a bang. Can you hear me? That means no, he can't hear me. That's fine. So my suggestion is there's something wrong with your settings. Hold on. As I'm letting him know. He just had this on working right before. In pre-production, this was perfectly fine. But just like Vince McMahon always wanted to do Monday Night Raw live, it's because anything can happen when it's live. And unfortunately, he can't hear a word I'm saying.
I can't hear a word.
Thank you for clarifying.
That's not a word.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But you look happy.
All right, anyway, Monday Night Raw. Let's go ahead and start off. Hold up.
I'm going to try something.
Nasty Candace says, I bet you Liv Morgan was fully shaved and dripping wet from sweating hard in that whole spew tuna from me. Yeah, I remember. You haven't been here in a while, Nasty Candace. Good to see you, even though you're just as vulgar and useless as before. Oh, good grief. First thing I want to talk about is none other than Dominic Mysterio coming out and announcing your new WWE retaining WWE Women's Heavyweight Champion because she was victorious at the Elimination Chamber, and that is none other than Mommy Rhea Ripley. Once again, Dominic Mysterio, hey, respect. Dirty Dominic Mysterio got a lot of heat with him, and this is the first time, yes, you are. This is the first time that Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley's really been in the same room interacting in quite some time. Now, I'm not sure if this was because they knew Becky Lynch was coming out and they wanted to get some kind of heel heat for Rhea because she's been playing a little bit of a babyface because she was going against Nia Jax. But clearly, she's going to go back to being a heel, you would think, as she's facing Becky Lynch, unless they're going to do a face versus face thing. But Dirty Dom, when he's there, definitely gets the heel heat a little bit on Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch interrupts, of course, as she did, to say that, hey, I'm coming for you at WrestleMania for that WWE Women's Heavyweight Championship. And Dirty Dom kind of got in the man's face. The man was not too happy about that. Said something to Rhea's boyfriend, and then Rhea had to defend her man. Good and much respect to you, Rhea Ripley, for stepping in there and saying, hey, you're not going to talk to my man like that. I appreciated that. See what's up with Dirty Jeff, who still having technical difficulties. I'm assuming still can't hear anything. Whatever. As Rhea said, hey, WrestleMania, I'm going to beat you. Normal back and forth banter. She leaves the ring. Nia Jax comes out of nowhere and attacks Becky Lynch. beating her down brutally before Adam Pearce does his normal thing when he comes down. No, don't do this. I'm going to find you. Don't do this. Nia's like finally left, and I don't understand what's going on exactly. There are rumors that they're going to try to turn this match instead from a one-on-one to a triple threat, possibly even a fatal four-way, and put Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. And we'll talk more about Liv Morgan later. I am interested to see where the storyline is going. I definitely think that Nia Jax deserves to be in a WrestleMania match. I definitely think that Liv Morgan has an interesting story why she could be put. I mean, hey, everybody's a crybaby nowadays. Everybody got chicken nuggets, and she can make a case of why she deserves to be in a WrestleMania match also. But once again, we'll talk more about it later. But I thought this was a fine segment, a normal segment that's really done a lot by Adam Pearce, but did exactly what it had to do and set up what needed to be set up for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, but a lot of caveats. So look, ladies and gentlemen, we have 6 more Raws, 5 now after tonight, 6 more Raws until WrestleMania. So a lot of time can happens in between, and they have to do a lot happening in between. So I'm very interested to see what is going on. Can you hear me now?
I got you. I hear you.
It's about time.
Yeah. How to play with the settings.
All right. We were talking about, or I was talking about Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, the first segment of the night for Monday Night Raw. Your thoughts when it comes to this segment overall?
My thoughts on the segment. First of all, sorry, everyone. Got a new microphone, and apparently the settings weren't matched up to UPR and the microphone. So one thing at a time. I thought the Rhea was great. I thought the Dom was great. Becky was Becky. I mean, I'm not digging this new look at hers. I don't mind what she said, but again, her look. She looks like that in shape mom, but she's not feeling like the badass anymore. I'm not feeling this man thing, and I was a little bit relieved with when Nia came in there. Gotta say, I thought this feud was over, but I'm not upset. I'm not angry that it's not exactly over. But we did get. I don't know. It felt like Rhea said "mommy" on top either too early or once too many times. Hello, Damian Jones. You're on mute.
Well, I know. I was trying. I thought I didn't think you were going to be done so fast. What do you think about the inclusion possibly of Nia Jax? I mean, at the end of the segment, Nia Jax came in and attacked Becky Lynch and really beat her down until Adam Pearce came down. Now, do you think that this is just filler until Nia Jax gets her clear road to WrestleMania and Becky versus Rhea? Or is it possible that they're teasing that Nia Jax is somehow be inserted into this match? And like I said earlier, we'll talk about Liv Morgan a little bit later because there were some teases of her as well.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think it's filler. I don't think that Nia Jax is going to, or maybe it's the former. But I know you would like to wish cast Nia Jax into this main event. I think it's going to stay a one-on-one. But I can't rule it out. I don't know, but I don't think so. I think, like I said, I think it's filler. I think the Liv Nia thing may continue. A lot of people would like to know what's going on with Jade Cargill. Nia seems like she'd be someone that would be a prime opponent for her, strength against strength, but we'll see. I don't know for sure. That's for damn sure as I don't know for sure, but I'm going to stick with one-on-one.
I wouldn't say I want to wish Nia in there. I thought she should have had a championship match in there, but I've actually been looking forward to a Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley match for quite some time. So I'm not upset if they don't go that route. I do believe that Nia deserved a championship match. I think it should be against Bianca Belair. I think Bianca and Nia, and I believe I said this on the Elimination Chamber review show, which you still catch on YouTube. I believe that Nia and Bianca will be a far more entertaining storyline, anticipated match than a Bayley and Io Sky, which I think is an anticipated match, but does not need that WWE championship because I don't think Io Sky has been a credible champion.
Huh. Interesting. I understand why you're saying that, but I think the whole damage control background story with the intrigue of Dakota Kai and, that there's basically a group of 3 women against right now 2, possibly 4, probably 4. I think that's interesting. I mean, it's funny because I spend a lot of time off and on X monitoring it during the day, and there's a lot of outrage that Bayley isn't on the poster, that she's not in the main event, and this, that, and the other thing. So it's funny to hear you say that you're not really invested in that match, particularly when I read sort of the opposite. Not to say that X is real or that you don't represent a large part of the fan base either. I'm fine with the match. I like the damage control story. Now, I think the damage control was sort of a floundering thing for a long time, and it finally caught its legs. Sort of like Judgment Day. They were floundering for a while. Then they got their legs, when Dom and Mommy got paired up, and they've sort of been on a roll ever since then. Despite JD McDonough, I mean, R-Truth put a injection into them of some life. So yeah, no, I'm not. I would not be upset with Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax. It's sort of the same thing. It's power against power, and Bianca is a proven excellent performer and a proven commodity. So with Jade, you'd have to be a little bit worried. But I'd still like to see it. I mean, it would be new, and it'd be that power versus power. I don't know what Bianca's role is going to be, but she'll have one. I'm just not sure what it'll be. They have to get her into a grudge match soon. I would rather see her with Rhea and Becky than putting Nia Jax there.
As far as the Billy concern is like I like the storyline. I'm interested in it. It's just that EO, like I said, is just not a credible champion. But I do get what you're saying on there. But we want to move on to the next segment, which is none other than Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. For the second time in 3 weeks. These two have had a history with each other for quite some time, right, since Shinsuke and Sami Zayn were in NXT. Good match, good solid match, as you expect these two to have, because Sami Zayn is very good in the ring. Shinsuke Nakamura is very good in the ring. But this is a story of Sami Zayn's redemption story. Where is he going to be at WrestleMania? That's where the storyline is going to be for a lot of these wrestlers going into WrestleMania in 40 nights. Who has a match? Who doesn't have a match? How are they getting there? Sami Zayn is one of the most popular wrestlers. How is he getting to WrestleMania? I did suggest a few things last week. It looks like that's the direction we're going. But big victory here from Sami Zayn as he picks up the victory over Shinsuke Nakamura. Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple of promo segments here as well, sort of more of the same, but feeling a little bit fuller of himself after the victory. Nothing wrong with the match. He got his win back from Shinsuke, a couple places where it looked like he was dead and he wasn't dead, hope spots, and he beat a 10 count barely, et cetera, et cetera. I've been saying for a while, I think his destination is Gunther and the IC championship, and they sort of teased that, but then they sort of rebutted it with Gunther sort of pooing away Sammy along with Chad Gable and R-Truth and The Miz. And and then we got Gable with his impassioned request to Adam Pearce involving the kids, and you got the mysterious phone call from Bronson Reed. Again, I don't know, which I think is a little bit fun, but I do think that what we'll probably have is like a triple threat or a fatal six-way or something like that to determine who the contender is. And I do think it ultimately will be Sami Zayn overcoming, because I think it is his redemption arc. I know a lot of people want to see Chad Gable versus Gunther, but we got that. And I don't know that Sami Zayn's going to beat Gunther either, but I guess we have to get there first. But I wouldn't be mad if there was I saw somebody post that I'd like to see one of those 6-person ladder matches where they put, Gable in there, and I mean, they put Ricochet's head in there. So, I mean, put his head on a milk carton, for God's sake. I don't know where that man's been. But yeah, that's where I think Sammy's going to end up, whether it's a one-on-one match or it's a group match. I'm not sure yet, but they've got to fill, at least 7 matches per night. There's plenty of matches to fill and plenty of bodies that they need to fill them with.
I know that Bad Guy Jack, shout out to Bad Guy Jack for an NXT show, is a fan of having Chad Gable go against Gunther. I wouldn't be upset. I always felt like Chad Gable deserves it. And I wouldn't be upset if Sami Zayn gets it. The thing is, I do believe it's time, and I'm a huge Gunther mark, but I do think it's time to take that title off of Gunther and have him pursue whoever is going to be the world champion. That being said, I don't want a 6-way match. I like multi-man matches in certain cases, but at WrestleMania, I like majority one-on-one, especially for titles. And I think Gunther should have a one-on-one match, with it being Sami Zayn or Chad Gable. Either one I would be fine with. And everybody knows Miz is my favorite wrestler. I would even want it to be The Miz. Chad Gable or Sami Zayn. and I'm good. But here's the other question that I have for you, Evil Dose. Who is Shinsuke Nakamura going to face at WrestleMania, if anyone?
I'm seeing Shinsuke in the Bounty Hunter Brian Keith spot. He's the Al Jobber. He's enhancement talent. I'm seeing him in the Andre Battle Royal. I'm sorry, I don't really see him having a role. If there is that nightmare scenario of the 6-person match, they could probably put him in there. Maybe there's going to be he's going to say, I beat Sami Zayn once, he beat me once. Why is he in this mix? But I'm with you. I think if there's going to be a multi-person match, it's going to be to get to WrestleMania, not at WrestleMania. And I could totally see that being Bronson, Chad, Nakamura, and Sami Zayn. And I could even see, listen, I'm putting breadcrumbs together that are all over the place. I'm putting them into a line. I realize I'm about to do this, but he's been working with Otis for a long time, and now he's been having this program with Ivar for a while. I don't think it's an accident that he's been working with all these big men, and now Bronson Reed, who just had a baby, is making telephone calls. I wouldn't be surprised if Chad gets costs because of something with Bronson Reed, and that he ruined it for his kids, and Bronson's like, you ruined it for my new baby and my new family, and they end up having some sort of grudge match at WrestleMania, sort of a opening match kind of thing. And I know it's not exciting to everyone, but not everyone's going to be an exciting high profile match. There's
well, last year at 38, every match was pretty high profile.
I guess it depends on how brutal it gets between now and then. If they're
going to have to do a lot of work to sell me on that.
Well, they did a lot of work tonight with the Imperium and the Street Profits, and did a lot.
Wow. Both Street Profit is New Day.
I'm sorry, you didn't.
Next match we're going to talk about is Chelsea Green coming out here talking about she's upset and she had to complain to management about one Raquel Rodriguez, who came out there fresh off of her return and her battle at the Elimination Chamber and made short work of Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's an up-and-comer. They kind of separated her a little bit from Piper Niven because she has very good mic work and very good presence. Knows what she's doing to draw heat in that ring. I still not completely sold on her. I think she's a good talent, but I think that she is overshadowed by the fact that she is still not on the same level as a lot of other women out there. Your thoughts when it comes to Chelsea Green, and then we'll move on to your thoughts when it comes to Raquel Rodriguez.
I agree with you. I love Chelsea. I love her personality. I think she's been killing it. She's had 2 title runs. Neither has been spectacular. A tag team title, which is, certainly a tertiary title at this, though it's starting to build a little bit more respect, but that's from the Warriors, not from her and Piper. I'm still waiting to see when Carmella comes back. I'm hoping they're going to have such great chemistry. If Carmella comes back, that they'll, be a fun tag team to watch. I like Chelsea Green, but I don't.
I think Carmella will be back by SummerSlam.
I sure hope so. But her as enhancement jobber, chicken shit heel, being squashed by Raquel, I think was more about Raquel than it was about Chelsea. Chelsea's she's sort of judgment proof. It doesn't really matter what happens to her. If she wins a match by cheating or whatever, people will be okay with her. If she wins a match by by legitimately people behind her. If she gets squashed, it's fine. She's like the Miz. She can do anything, So I'm okay with it. Like, I wouldn't want this to be what she's doing in for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. If this is what she does every now and then, it's fine. And this was, I think, WWE's way of saying Raquel is still a beast. But more importantly, I think it's telling the world we support her even though she doesn't have her makeup on, even though she doesn't have her look.
That's going to be rough. I know it's a new era now in WWE, but I would never thought WWE would ever let, I know side of obvious, WWE letting somebody come out there without makeup.
Yeah, no,
because even the men wear makeup.
Right. If anything, they would have made her put like full, great Muta makeup on to hide it all, and then put on a Saudi Arabian style bodysuit. No, they just let her come out, and they still let her pose, and she doesn't have a particularly impressive TV flex. I'm sure if you saw her, she'd be huge. Very impressive, and you can tell on the right lighting that's there. But it's not like Jade Cargill, who doesn't need the lighting. So I don't get a lot of things with her, but they support her and they believe in her, and it's fine. I actually think in some way this might free her up to be a little bit more herself and stop with the canned acting. It didn't translate to her voice yet. Again, I'm laying breadcrumbs that are not in a line, and I'm putting them in a line that's not there yet, and a bunch of birds could eat them. But I hope this frees her a little bit and gives her that confidence that she can kick into that gear where she sounds natural. That gear that Drew McIntyre is at now. That gear that Jey Uso got to, and some other people as well. The gear that's so natural to Kevin Owens. You're acting, but you don't sound like you're acting.
Yeah, he definitely sounds like everything's coming off the dome. Raquel Rodriguez, I told you, this is going to be the theme. Where do you see her going when it comes to WrestleMania?
I don't know. I don't know where the role is for her. For a while, I was thinking that maybe they would reunite her and Liv as a tag team because they had some success. And
clearly not.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely not happening. So I don't know what her role is going to be in WrestleMania. I don't think there's ever been a women's Andre Battle Royal. Maybe there has.
They called it Mr. WrestleMania, so to speak. And I think that if they had that, Raquel will be a shoo-in. Now, instead of Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal, what they've been doing is they've been having the tag team titles to fit in against all these different women, except for last year. But I don't see that them having a gauntlet match. And yeah, they can just shoehorn Raquel Rodriguez in there with anybody as their tag team partner. But I think they should go the Battle Royal route personally this year. They do that, and I think Raquel should be the shoe-in to win.
I mean, it's tough to see where Raquel's gone because she was gone for so long during the pivotal time, and she came back and she had a great showing in the Royal Rumble to have an important role in Elimination Chamber. But it's not like she didn't have any particular heat with any woman in Elimination Chamber over and above anyone else.
No, it just looked like she was excited to be back.
Yeah, I think that what they may end up doing is a bunch of triple threats or fatal four-ways for number one contenders for future SmackDown and Raw women's title matches.
And they can do that too. I like number one contender matches. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about the main event. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Gunther's in-ring promo that he had discussing his Intercontinental Championship run. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
I do want to touch a little bit on this where Stone, he's backstage with the Vontastic Von Wagner, and he says, I have to go out there. And I forgot about the whole stuff about Stone. Lexus was talking about Stone's kids. Now, I don't blame Stone for being like, I'm going to defend my kids. Those are his kids. Those are his children. But Lexus just pushes Stone. And I'm like, he should have stayed in the back. And I totally agree to that. Absolutely.
He should have stayed in the back. But if you talk about someone's kids the way that you talk about someone's kids, you going to get your ass beat. And Robert Stone didn't have to do the ass whooping. Oh, but Femi did.
Overwhooped ass. Like, that's just what he does. He just leaves a lot of ass juice in the ring. That's how much ass he kicks. And I'm sorry that I gave that visual, but yes, hashtag ass juice. Which is
Let's not make that. Nope, we're not hashtagging that. Nope. That's not so wrong. We're not doing that. Nobody do that. And if you do that, y'all are crazy and ridiculous and out of your damn minds.
Well, listen, I think okay, you heard madam. Do not make that a hashtag.
Yeah, I agree. Please don't make that a hashtag. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the NXT crew, Bad Guy Jack and Wrestling Doll from the award-winning best show of UPR, NXT UPR Review. Join them every single Tuesday immediately after NXT. But you're watching a Raw review, the highest rated show last week. Executive consultant joining, of course, with his partner, Evil Dose, bringing you Monday Night Raw. And what you got to say for yourself, Evil Dose?
Well, the funny thing is that Ron was my partner this week on Hammerlock Hangovers, just the two of us. Steve was on assignment, and I had to have a few words with him also, so, on the refraining of the ass juice. So, yeah, I echo. I think that we are all unanimous in do not hashtag ass juice. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the visual. No one wants to think about it. I'm not happy thinking about it even right now. So thanks a lot, Ron. At least you had the Pikachu hat or whatever that Pokemon thing. Still love you. And check out Hammerlock Hangover. Great show. Ron and I, very different dynamic than Steve and I.
Yeah, I can imagine. You don't even have to tell me.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. All right, let's take what we'll talk about is Gunther coming out after having words with Sami Zayn. So speaking, I thought it was very well done, his words with Sami Zayn, and saying, hey, you know what? I've had this championship for a while. Who am I wrestling at WrestleMania? And he named a whole bunch of people. But I'm good, Charmaine. How are you doing?
Aww.
But the thing that surprised me and I will say surprise face. I didn't expect this. The Judgment Day comes out and said that they want to have all the championships, and they are coming after the Intercontinental Championship. And Gunther's like, well, who's going to be? And then starts naming them off. But the person he left was the person that went in there and said, hey, you know what? We're coming for the title. And that was Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Chaos ensues shortly after this. I love this segment. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this was my favorite segment of the night. Even those your thoughts.
Wasn't my favorite segment of the night, but it was definitely interesting. And I was not expecting this either. You know, the heel on heel dynamic, which is interesting. I don't know who they want to turn. Everyone's been predicting, including me. I'm part of this, everyone, the doom of the Judgment Day, and it hasn't happened yet. And it looks like Priest is still acting like they're champion. You know, and whenever Mommy's not out there, you know, he sort of takes the lead and they let him and they follow. But, you know, he was in Gunther's race, and, you know, I am of the, you know, I'm not into using the briefcase to cash it in on anything other than the world championship, but you can. But you know what? He doesn't, you know, if Priest fights Gunther at WrestleMania, A, he doesn't need to cash it in. He can get there the regular way. He can still have the case. And B, he can still cash it in on either title match should he want to, especially if it is, you know, the nightmarish, you know, 5-person match, 6-person match where, you know, maybe he doesn't factor in it for very long, or, you know, or the next night he does, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it was interesting. You know, Dom ain't winning this match. You know, they set up a little bit later for what we think Dom's next, you know, challenge and opponent will be. But I am interested in if Priest sticks around or if this is more filler. I don't have a vibe on that one. I definitely feel like the Nia Becky thing is just filler to get us through the next 3 weeks or whatever. The Priest thing felt different, but that just means that's how it hit me. That doesn't mean that's what the intention is. I'm not always sure they know what the intention is. I think that maybe they're just trying to change the narrative on the internet. We want Chad Gable. We want The Miz. We want me. I mean, I don't want Sami Zayn particularly. That's just where I see it going. I mean, I don't dislike Sami Zayn, but it's not like, you know, I'm a giant Sami Zayn fan. Anybody who knows me knows he, you know, my prototypical wrestler is Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, the Road Warriors. And Sami Zayn's like the polar opposite of those.
But a good in-ring specialist. I am a fan of Sami Zayn. I do see what you're saying, though, because we have similar tastes when it comes to what wrestlers we prefer. But I am a fan of Sami Zayn. I will also say this. I do believe it is filler, and I think it's because of what we set up and what you were alluding to. Let's talk about it. Backstage, they were all proud of themselves walking backstage. And one thing I want to mention, and I think I mentioned this last week, is that you see it in Judgment Day lately. You'll see Mommy with them as much.
Right.
You know, she's like doing her own thing, but she actually comes up after they all feel proud of themselves and says, really, you challenging Gunther. First time she's ever said something like this. So I'm like, oh, wow, they're really about to turn her baby face.
Right. And she walks off to the right, and then they're like, Dom, you gotta fix this. Like, yeah. And
I didn't even notice that, but that's right. The total opposite. Oh, yeah, I gotta go make me go this. But here's another interesting fact. He runs into Andrade, who you were alluding to is obviously the next person. He's like, oh, I got to go and talk to Adam Pearce about who my first opponent should be.
Recognize how good Andrade's suit looked.
Yeah, Andrade's suit looked good, but he is such a terrible friend. Dirty Dominic Mysterio gave him so much respect that he does not normally give people. Let's just be real. Does not normally give people.
Yeah, you sound like the 22-year-old kid.
And Andrade's way of saying thank you is by pretty much going behind his back to get him in a match. And why does everybody got to come on the main roster or WWE or something like that have to start challenging Dirty Dom first? Why does he have to be the first one? I don't understand.
I guess Andrade is a heel, and he's taken up for
babyface.
Mysterio. I'm getting everything wrong. He's a face, and he's taken up for the Mysterio family. But Dom, when he was talking to Andrade, was not 30 Dom. He was regular Dom. That was
correct. That was the first time in over a year, almost 2 years, he's talked like that. And then this guy's going to stab him in the back.
Right. He's like, well, good luck with whoever that is. I hope everything goes well. Gee, golly, he sounds like SpongeBob.
I was just totally disappointed in this, but you can see Becky. You can see the breakups coming of Rhea and Dirty Dom, which I'm not happy about. But they have been together for quite a while for a WWE couple. So, you know, and Rhea is getting really, really popular. And I mentioned it when you were having technical difficulties earlier. It was the first time I really saw Rhea and Dom be in the same spot at one time. 1 and 2 be in the same spot and actually kind of admit that they're still together. Because a lot of times he just looked like a lackey and she was just ordering everybody around. She wasn't saying my Dom or anything like that. But today she said, hey, don't get in the face of my Latino heat. But I felt like they wanted to make Rhea still solidified as the heel in this rivalry with Becky. So they had to bring Dirty Dom to get that heat.
Absolutely. I wish she would have said something about, when she was saying behind every strong man, there's a strong woman, and it looks like you've been raiding his closet or something,
Once again, your disdain for one Seth Rollins is showing, young sir.
Guilty as charged. Absolute disdain.
We'll talk about Seth Rollins in a little bit. Let's talk about the street fight between New Day and Imperium, which was a while for a street fight. And let me tell you something. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me what I'm about to say, because New Day, one, hardly ever put as a bad match with any tag team they face. Any tag team they face. 2, I've seen them in street fights before. They can go in that street fight. And Imperium is a very physical team. This was a very good, obviously, the match of the night. Once again, my segment was the one before it, but this was obviously the match of the night. Even those your thoughts. And hey, New Day took the L.
Yeah, which I mean, actually, everything about this match was good. First of all, the New Day came out in jeans, and of course, the face jerseys. I got that right. San Jose Sharks got that right too. So yay me! I'm getting a little bit less dementia, but this match was spectacular, and this was the best the New Day have looked as a team or singularly in a while. Though I have to say, Kobe looked pretty good a few weeks ago. Xavier's been off and on. He hasn't felt exactly right ever since he came back from injury, and I liked how they played into that with the chair shots. And the Imperium is a fabulous tag team, but they haven't really let them be a fabulous tag team ever since calling them up. And so this, I think, helped both teams. It reminded people that the New Day can be vicious, they can wrestle. They're a great tag team, and they can be taken seriously, and they should be taken seriously because they've been playing the jokey role for such a long time. I get why. They're probably making hundreds of thousands in commissions a year, and on royalties, and probably more than that on outside ventures like the G4 and the Twitch channels and all the video game stuff. So God bless them. I mean, they should absolutely do that, and I'm sure they're the kind of unit that they're still sharing with Big E even while he's out. But Imperium, I mean, they needed this. They needed to be established as a tag team. They needed a big win. I think there's always a risk when you're goons that you're always looked at as goons and cannon fodder. And Bloodline didn't let that happen most of the time. And the Four Horsemen never did, and most of the great factions don't. And they were dangerously doing that with Imperium. I don't know if this is a Triple H thing. I don't know, if this is a Gunther thing, whatever. This was spectacular. It was a great match, and the ending was great. They, the slamming of the I think it was like a baking sheet on Xavier's head, but that doesn't do it all. You have Kaiser throw Xavier into the corner through a chair, and then he holds the tights and holds the belt as well. His leather belt, not tights. They were jeans, but not just the jeans. He actually held the belt in the belt loop. So it was like 3 high impact moves with a cheat. And there was blood. They had some inadvertent blood, and they had welts on their backs. Everybody
went out there and they definitely put on a match. I was quite impressed. It's good to see Imperium pick up the victory here. New Day, phenomenal. I can't wait, God willing, that Big E comes back and joins them. I think they really are missing that, and I think they really do need that, and they'll be prominent again. Not that they're not prominent now; they will go down as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But I think they are missing Big E. But good match and good points.
Gunther chopped a Big E's 3-foot wide chest.
Big E can be that one. If Big E came back before WrestleMania, I say, hey, give it to him.
I don't think he can just yet, but if he can, I'm willing to wait with Gunther. Listen, Gunther can lose the title and regain it. I mean, everyone's like, you lose the title, you're never getting it again. What are you talking about? So
plenty of people have done that. Look at Drew McIntyre. We'll talk about him in a second. Next match is a snoozer match, I should say. I want to say is the worst match of the night, but it wasn't designed to be the best match of the night. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. It happened. They're trying to make Shayna and Zoe go after the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. I don't know if it's going to happen necessarily at WrestleMania, but this is a match that happened. Evil Dose, what do you have to say about this match, if anything?
Yeah, the less said, the better. The only, none of these women get any reaction, especially Indy and Candice. I mean, Zoe really doesn't. Shayna gets some, but they know it's a tag team match, and the crowd is just like, for us, we have commercials, so we can take piss breaks. But the crowd, when they're live, this was the piss break match. The only thing I can say is that Candice took the loss on Saturday, and Indy took the loss this time. But I mean,
share the love.
She submitted to me. This wasn't. I mean, all they did was show that they were not worthy of that tag team title shot. I don't think this really did anything for either team or the women's tag team division. And I don't know. I like that Triple H is loyal to his people and to his NXT.
Definitely loyal to them. You can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine to keep people on the roster for losses, but to sort of pushing them, put them on week after week after week. That's a little overkill. You can spread the jobbing out a little bit.
Speaking of people he's loyal to, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm part of Regeneration X.
What's the next segment? That's what they're called, and I bet you that's going to end up going over very popular. Wouldn't surprise me this was a Miz idea. But Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, R-Truth, and Miz talk about how they plan to get back into Judgment Day. Now, this is not going to be a four.
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. It was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. What's wrong with it?
Not Shawn Michaels and not Triple H. The Miz and R-Truth were backstage talking about they're going to get back at Judgment Day. This is not a match that's going to happen in WrestleMania. I'm positive of it, but it's going to be filler going into WrestleMania. But I still believe that somehow or another, Awesome Truth is going to get a tag team title shots against the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. Even those your thoughts?
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, Truth is great. I mean, this sounds like it's a Truth idea. I'd be surprised if it was his idea, but I'd be equally unsurprised if it was a Truth idea. And him reminiscing about all the good times, what good times, and just everything about it was hysterical. And he goes, "Are you ready?" And I mean, and they go, "Oh, he's trying to set me up." And then he wants the TV, and it's like some 1987 like kitchen TV that I know my grandmother had in her house, and probably in my parents in one room they still have the same TV. It's not even plugged in, and then I think Gargano goes, "Is this wireless?" He goes, "No." It's just little things like that are just fabulous. It's just
nice to see R-Truth got fresh off the plane from Austria. So yeah, R-Truth is a gem, and what a bit of the fans wanted him more than anybody to go after the Intercontinental Championship. I don't even know why they even teased that. I think that was not a good move. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we have a lot to talk about. We have the main event to talk about still. In my opinion, the worst segment to talk about still, as well as Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins in the ring. We're going to take a small commercial break. Stay with us. You are watching Unpopular Review.
Last time on UPR Shorts.
You're looking it up, huh?
I'm looking at I'm looking at micro wrestling. Oh my god! Oh, ooh, Chris, you gotta hold on a second. We gotta watch this shit. Chris, we gotta do a review show on this fucking show, Chris, please.
Is it on TV? Do they have a TV deal?
Yes.
Oh, really?
They do.
Surprise.
Oh, Chris,
Free coupon.
please, free coupon. Chris, look at this. Even the referee is a little guy. Oh God, Chris, look at this. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, just slap that shit out. Look at this. Wow, look at this high flying action.
I mean,
Look at that guy.
everything's high flying.
Watch this. Watch this big guy that's coming up. Look at this guy. Oh, he died.
The big boot, huh?
Oh, Chris, this is the greatest. This is the greatest.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, he just killed that man.
Look at that. He did that. Look at that second rope moonsault. Look at the ref. He must go to the same ref school as Aubrey Edwards. Holy shit. Chris, can we just do a review on this?
There's no television.
Oh my God, please.
You can ask somebody in the chat if they want to do this review with you, okay? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a review show for Micro Wrestling, and that's how it happened. Is we were taping episodes of our YouTube UPR Shorts, which you can watch on YouTube as well as
That was
Instagram
short.
Reel. Yeah, and
Like longs to me. But Steve was so color coordinated. His hat matched his shirt, even his headphones matched, his undershirt matched. I mean, everything was in that black and white. Surprised he didn't color his microphone.
He's a fashion guru. Speaking of fashion gurus, talk about Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins.
I just want to congratulate Tyler Pate on doing so well on that Micro Brawlers. He looked really great in there. I think he really found himself there much better than his position on SmackDown.
Drew McIntyre came out there and called out Seth Rollins. Now, here's the situation with Drew McIntyre. They're portraying him as a heel, but he still does face things, which is actually really good. But what I'm talking about is the fact that just like Bobby Lashley did when he was a heel, Drew McIntyre comes out there and still slaps the fans' hands. Yeah. But he's a heel. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, solidified. He's a heel. I thought he had a very good promo. I love this angle they got going with CM Punk. Love it. And I'm thinking they're doing it because I still think the pan that they brought out to confront him about that World Heavyweight Championship, and honestly speaking, it was a whole bunch of nothing, if you ask me. But I still think Seth is turning on Cody at WrestleMania. I really do. Evil, what's your thoughts?
I mean, firstly, when Drew first came to the building, he needs to win WrestleMania and get that championship back because he can only afford 2 shirts, and one is his CM Punk Rest in Peace shirt, and the other is that stupid black tank top, which he managed to not wear when he went into the ring, but put a leather jacket on. So that was odd. That's a heelish thing to wear a jacket with no shirt under it. So there is that. I like his work. I like what he's doing with Punk. Obviously, they're very optimistic about Punk's recovery and the window being sooner rather than later, at least to be able to be on TV and take some action. I don't think I like that phrase, take some action. But anyway, insert a better phrase. But that's good. And Drew is telling truth. He's saying to Seth, don't get involved in the bloodline business. This is the same thing that other people have. The other people have given the advice about, and others have not listened to, and they've regretted it. Who else recently said, "Don't get involved in the bloodlines business. It's only gonna hurt you."
Seth said it to Cody.
That's right. He said it to Cody, and Rhea and the Judgment Day were actually the Judgment Day was saying to Rhea, "Don't get involved with Drew because he's involved in the bloodline," and you see what happens with that. So. Again, Drew was telling no lies, and he's, telling Seth, "I want you to be at 100%." I guess the one guy who can't get fashion tips is Drew, but Seth's outfit was unusually unusual as always. He found bell-bottom crushed velour tracksuit. I can't blame Becky on this one because it's obviously not her size, even though I'm sure they can share some clothes, at least from the pre-Prego days. But this was good until Seth Rollins came and ruined everything. And now Seth is like, "I've been selfish in my career, and now I have a baby, so now I'm different." The third baby reference of a night. Yay, who cares? It's not hard to have kids. As who was in Salt Lake City recently that said anybody can have a baby? I think it was Don Callis pointing out to Sammy Guevara. Anyone can have a goddamn baby, even those ham and eggers can procreate. So... which is true. Anyone can have a baby. Most people have too many. So, Seth came out and he was droning on and he's boring and he's not going to listen because he's got to do what's right. And some things are more important than the titles. When he didn't have a title, nothing was more important than having the title. When he got the title, nothing was more important than making that title the most important title in WWE. So he has not succeeded in doing that. Roman Reigns is still the most important. So he's moving his goalposts. That's what Seth Rollins is doing. Now he wants to be Mr. Nice Guy. Now maybe it's a sucker punch, and that's fine. I've seen Seth do that before. Not excited about it. I'd rather him just leave and take 7 months off and come back, after he's reimagined and been a visionary and envisioned going back to the gym again.
Visionary, revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins.
He is the most successful AEW wrestler in WWE.
One-on-one matchup next is between Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. One thing I want to heighten and point out the fact that they did not really highlighted, Liv Morgan changed her entrance music.
Yeah. Hey, did we get to the part where Jackie Redmond is on NHL The Bump, but she's gonna have Jey Uso on an NHL show?
No, I was going to talk about that next.
Oh, okay.
Liv Morgan and Nia Jax go out there. Nia and is pretty much dominating this whole match, but Liv gets some offense in when Nia was about to take back control. Here comes Becky Lynch to attack Nia ruthlessly in this match. Backstage, Becky says, I want Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce does Adam Pearce things and says it's official next week. Like you see it coming, Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch. And then they played the music like they're about to go to the ring, which I appreciated. Here comes Liv saying, hey, I had that. Nobody needs you. This is not always about you.
Yeah, and Liv's revenge tour, if you've noticed, after an initial victory, she's been 0-3 since then. So she's 1-3 on her revenge tour. That is not much of a revenge tour. But listen, broken Liv, definitely more interesting than face Liv. So I'm down with that. You know, I'm sure we're going to get a shenanigans next week. And, you know, I don't know if this turns into a Liv Nia match at WrestleMania to Philip, but if they're both heels, I actually wouldn't mind a Liv Nia tag team, sort of a female version of Power and Glory. That could be interesting.
After WrestleMania?
Yeah, after WrestleMania or just up to it. But yeah, after WrestleMania. I mean, it is. I mean, in wrestling, there's always enough time to do whatever you want, but that would be super rushed.
I will say that that's not a bad idea. And I am, for the first time I can think of in forever, possibly, I am more interested and invested to see where Liv Morgan's going. I think she's been very interesting the last couple of weeks. I actually appreciated and respected her promo last week when she said, hey, Rhea took 6 months off my career, or 3 months, however it was, and I need to face Rhea Ripley. Hey, I agree with you. I completely was behind you when you said that. You'll lose, but I completely was behind you. I gave her plenty of credit for the Elimination Chamber. I thought she did a phenomenal job. I am interested to see where this story is going. I don't want her to be inserted in that match, just like I said about Nia Jax, but if it happens, I'm not going to be totally upset because I'm interested to see where this is going. The story, the overused term in wrestling for the last year, the story that needs to be finished is Liv Morgan, because she was tag team partners with Rhea. Rhea attacked her. Then she got a new partner. Rhea injured her. I'm interested to see it, but I still want to see Becky versus Rhea. But that match happens next week. Jackie Redmond was announced to have an interview with with main event Jey Uso for NHL's The Bump. It was The Bump, right?
I don't know what it's called, but it's called The Bump. They're sharing the name of a show. So, all right, cool.
Yeah, and it's going to be coming up this Thursday. She was interviewing Jey Uso backstage, and I'm surprised they didn't try to do more with the Jey Uso thing after last week, but he was just talking a whole bunch of nonsense before about Drew McIntyre, so they can have a brawl lead to yet another match they're going to have next week on Monday Night Raw. Your thoughts? Are you interested at this point to see another Drew McIntyre Jey Uso match? Where are we going? Because we know we're going with Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso, just like I wasn't interested in Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn callback. I mean, I think there's too much cooking. I do appreciate trying to bring reality into wrestling, and so that you don't forget everything and that people have more than one enemy at a time. So I do appreciate that. So I know I'm sounding like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, but it's a little crowded now right before WrestleMania. It's a little bit conflated, and maybe they're doing it on purpose to try to say who's going to screw who and who's going to interfere in what, and that's fine. But Jey Uso clearly came out and told somebody, I know what I'm going to say, and then he realized he had no idea what he was going to say, and then he went to his what cadence or yeet cadence, but he, like you said, he was just talking nonsense. And then Drew, maybe he was late in getting there. I don't know, but he finally got there, and and he said, "Jay, you deserve every part of this grief you're getting," which was good. I like that. It was Drew.
That was Drew. Up there with the line of, what do you think I am, CM Punk? Or it was very, very good, very, very well timed. I agree with you. He lost his words, but I've always said that Jimmy was actually better on the mic than Jay. Jay's not really good on the mic. He pretty much just reiterates everything he says. He knows how to get you hyped. He's a good hype man. Do not get me wrong. He's very good at that. Yeah. And I think they do a disservice when they don't have main event Jey Uso out there, and you can see that sign because every time he does it, and that the fans there, and you have 13,000 somebody. I mean, God, they're just doing so well. You know, you missed out on the 52,000 in Australia. Every time you miss out on that, I think you miss out on a very good scene for the fans to see. But they'll see it next week.
A little interaction between him and Paul Heyman. We saw him creeping around later on during the Grayson Waller Austin Theory interview, which I think is coming up next.
Yeah, that we're going to talk about that in a second. And you know, they announced it, and it was announced earlier today. Rock's going to be on the next 3 SmackDowns, so I think it's going to be great. The fact he's on the next 3 SmackDowns. Yeah. And the first time I ever saw a promo in years, possibly decades, where they announced The Rock is going to be a WrestleMania. I mean, I'm sorry, it's SmackDown this week when they did the SmackDown promo, and then they said SmackDown this sold out. You know, right there the whole time. I'm like, y'all really just like throwing shots at AEW.
Bragging about yourself isn't necessarily throwing shots at somebody else.
It's not bragging when you're number one, right? Cody Rhodes versus Hey, I told somebody before, like, you notice how they always chant AEW, ECW, TNA, NXT, but they never chant WWE. Why? When you're on top, you don't need to chant yourself. I said, who was also ever on top over WWE? WCW. And guess what else never got chanted? WCW.
Yeah.
Lackluster main event, in my opinion. I'm a big Grayson Waller fan. I am. I'm interested in him. I'm interested in Austin Theory, but I don't need to see him versus Cody Rhodes on a main event of Monday Night Raw. So I felt like that main event was a little flat. I mean, I understand why you need to have Cody Rhodes on, but this could have been in the middle of the show, if at all. Because you know, what you call is a SmackDown wrestler. I've never been a fan of just randomly showing up for no reason. But you know, if anything, it should have been him versus Austin Theory. Because Grayson didn't really do much at at Elimination Chamber. I don't understand what was his marching orders from Roman Reigns personally. I didn't get it, but whatever.
Right. I mean, the story should be that Grayson Waller keeps volunteering Austin Theory to be the sacrificial scapegoat. Just, you know, sort of what the damage control story was before they got successful and the tides changed. I agree. It should have been Austin Theory versus Cody Rhodes, which probably would have been a better match. Grayson Waller, I mean, you know, he's sort of like Indy Hartwell. He loses most of his matches. I'm back and forth on Grayson Waller. I didn't really love him in NXT, but I respected his effort. I could see, you know, he definitely has I want to punch you in the face kind of face. Every now and then he's entertaining, but most of the time I just find him irritating. Like I don't know. Like people say he's Australian Miz, and I heard someone say, just let him stay there. Just let him stay and be the Miz in other continents. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that, but whatever my opinion on Grayson Waller is, I agree with you 100%. This was not a main event. The outcome was never in doubt. Once you saw Paul Heyman was there, you knew something was going to happen. But I don't know about you. I was expecting a whole lot more than what I got out of Paul Heyman with 3 named security guards. Listen, if you are in San Jose, which is not that far from San Francisco, and is California, and that is Samoan Dynasty territory, at least come out with 5 or 6 Samoan indie wrestlers as security. Now, like Heyman saved it by saying you don't see any Polynesian blood out here or faces out here, you know, whatever his words were. But still, I was, this ain't good. And
I was just getting to that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to say lackluster main event, lackluster segment, in my opinion. After I don't know, they just didn't have what they wanted to, and they said this is what we're going to go with. But you know, Paul Heyman, who's gold on the mic at all times, and I could tell he was trying. But it just was not working for me. And this is not just because I'm not a fan of the Cody Rhodes versus the Roman Reigns thing. It's not because of that. They can still normally sell me with the microphone skills. Cody Rhodes is still pretty good on the mic. Paul Heyman is a Hall of Famer on the mic. I should have been a little bit more entertained and more invested. I mean, you just challenged the freaking Rock, for heaven's sakes, at a match.
Yeah, I think Cody.
It was nothing.
Part. I think the rest of everyone else let him down. Now, this. I don't want to make excuses for them because there is no excuse. This is a primetime television show. But if there is an excuse, it seems like maybe everybody was in Australia. There's a lot of jet lag. And the people who weren't in Australia, there was nobody back home writing scripts and telling them what for sure was going to be on Raw. And everyone who was directing Raw was in Australia, and they got back really late. And maybe they were just letting everyone free. So the whole show felt a little bit timey. The funny thing is, I actually thought Raw was pretty good this week.
I think so too. Yeah, I
mean, not that far off from last week. It's just things felt a little wonky, and the show, frankly,
and they had to be jet lagged. Let's just be real. Yeah. They had to be completely jet lagged. I was surprised that Liv Morgan did what she did, because almost everybody else who wrestled at Elimination Chamber didn't really wrestle tonight. If you pay attention, they did. The only ones that did well, Raquel had a short match, but Liv Morgan and Nia Jax were the only ones who wrestled at Elimination Chamber and really wrestled tonight. So,
and they're both back one after injury and one after a layoff. So I mean, they have a big enough.
Drew said he was tired. I think that was a shoot.
and it's the road to WrestleMania, so you need all of your tops. You can't give your top stories 1 week off to recuperate and put all your B people on. Plus, one of your B people, Bronson Reed, just had a baby, so he's on. He's probably on. Yeah, it's funny when like wrestlers are out for 5 weeks, not 5 weeks, like 5 or 6 months, like they're on paternity leave. They work 1 day a week. He's not on paternity leave. Something else is going on, but a couple weeks, yeah, that's paternity leave.
Yeah, he's on paternity leave. But that is it for Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a new segment. Yeah, so interested in that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, then we're going to do this quick segment, and then we're going to be done for the evening, so stay with us. You are watching Unpopular Review.
Have you started looking for a job yet?
Sorry.
What about babysitting?
Babysitting sucks. Adult men don't babysit things.
You're wonderful with children.
I've been stuck babysitting these 3 kids.
I know him. He's a friend. That looks good. What is that?
I'm being chased by 2 insane drug dealers. I came for my motherfucking keys to my motherfucking minivan, and that's what's up.
Have you ever been emotionally butt-fucked by a friend?
I can't say that I have, no. This guy has. No, just kidding.
Would you mind taking a look at Bill? Sure, what's wrong? I don't know. He's just not right.
She worries too much. I'm fine.
Is he dead?
David, there's somebody outside.
Military started shooting town folk.
We gotta get out of here, guys!
Like it or don't like it, it's the best thing going today.
Wow, you guys are going all in on those movies, huh?
Yep. It's the end of our 2010 picks, and then next month we're going to romance as well as Oscar winners, Best Picture Oscar winners for next month. So looking forward to that. I'll be working on that all morning. I'm all day tomorrow, actually. Let's talk about best of and worst of from Tuesday NXT in the world of wrestling all the way to tonight on Monday Night Raw. We haven't really talked about this or discussed the format, so we're just going to just wing it off the top right now.
Okay. So, one thing that is the worst?
Yeah. What's your least favorite thing of all of wrestling this week and your best thing of wrestling for all this week?
Wow. Before Elimination Chamber, my worst thing would have been the Madison Rayne Deonna Purrazzo match on Dynamite. That was an absolute disaster between what is supposed to be one of the best technical, if not the best technical, and one of the best women's wrestlers right now, and a veteran, and Madison Rayne, who's been wrestling for 20 years and is supposed to be the trainer for women in wrestling. And while I've never thought of Madison Rayne as a great wrestler, she's average and she's a veteran, and that looked really sloppy. But because of the scope, because of the size, because of the place it was in, and the expectations, that live Grayson Waller affected Elimination Chamber. I mean, going in, we knew that Seth had Cody's back. Cody wanted to fight The Rock. They were angry at the Bloodline, and coming out of it, we learned absolutely nothing new. It advanced nothing. It was just filler during a live show where people were already saying, hey, this card looks a little bit light. They added the one pre-show match, which was fine. And, we all like, okay, well, the Elimination Chamber matches, they're each going to be, an hour long. They weren't. The men's match was about 37 minutes. The women's match was probably a little bit shorter. So this was just filler, and unless there were dark matches that we didn't see on Peacock, there weren't. Then if I'm in Australia, I'm feeling a little bit ripped off for what I got. But that was my worst because it served no function. I think it was actually sort of insulting the people who paid a lot of money to see that, and the people who woke up. So I'm not someone who says you can't wake up. Like the international audience has to bow down to Eastern and U.S. times all year round. I don't think that was the biggest deal. It's on Peacock. You wait 2 hours for the replay. But for those people who did wake up to watch it live, I think that's an insult to those people too.
My worst stuff is actually pretty much the same. I was really upset about Elimination Chamber being only 4 matches, segment aside, 4 matches for a PLE, pay-per-view, whatever, is atrocious to me. And this is one of the things I don't like about the Triple H era. I mean, there are a lot of things to like about Triple H era. Trust me, I think it's more exciting. It's been in quite some time. I definitely see they're doing well. But when he did it with NXT, that's one thing, was NXT. For a WWE PLE, for people who pay their good money, to see a lot of wrestlers that might be their most popular right now. They don't have the times now where it's like, Stone Cold is that guy. The Rock is that guy. Hulk Hogan is that guy. Now you have a whole bunch of people that, hey, main event Jey Uso is my favorite. Cody Rhodes is my favorite. Seth Rollins is my favorite. But you have all these PLEs where I might not see them. They do the same thing really on Raw too. But for a PLE, you should have a sweet spot of 7 matches, depending on what it is. If it's a B-rated pay-per-view, like Elimination Chamber, at least 6 or 7. If it's a SummerSlam, 8. You know what I'm saying? WrestleMania split upon 2 nights, 12 to 14. But I know, like that format, I never have. That's the worst stuff for me. Okay, they did the same thing with me at Royal Rumble. I spent money on the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I had a very good time. Yeah, I saw a lot of wrestlers because it was 30 and 30, but it was still only 4 matches. That's not a pay-per-view to me. That's the worst stuff. My best stuff, as much as I complain about the damn pay-per-view, I thought the Elimination Chambers, both of them were phenomenal. Great time. I don't remember the last time I saw an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, PLE, Premium Live Event, where both matches I thought delivered on an equal level. They did a great job. The storytelling, all 12 competitors. Shout out to Randy Orton. That's something we're going to talk about more at another date, because if he was selling, you are the best seller I've ever seen in my life. But if you weren't, which I don't think you weren't, we might want to think about retirement because that was uncomfortable to watch. You did one move and you're on your back almost the entire match, and I cringed every time you did something. But if you were selling, my God, man, you did a fantastic job, and you might want to win the world title 17 times because that was unbelievable. I felt like I was in pain watching you just do the simplest stuff.
Yeah, my best is similar to yours. I picked the men's Elimination Chamber match and not that I didn't think the women's was good. I did think it was good, but I thought the men's was damn near perfect. And they started out with the SmackDown that was taped a week ago, but supposedly aired the night before, where they protected Bobby Lashley with the beatdown and the injury, which they
definitely protected.
But he still looked like a beast in there. He went through the bulletproof glass material twice. I loved everything with Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. It's exactly the way it should have been. Echo whatever you said about Randy Orton. I mean, I think he was selling. I hope he was selling.
Hope he was selling.
Maybe they're just like, dude, we don't want to risk it. You take it easy. You sell, and you just have a couple spots you need to do during the match. I think he was selling because he delivered RKOs to everybody at the end.
The one he did on Logan Paul was very. I mean, I know it's mostly camera work. But the one he did on Logan Paul was very, very good. Very good.
The whole thing, and I was saying, everyone's like telling me the LA Knight's going to be going after Logan Paul. I'm like, no,
false. It's Randy Orton.
And I said, somehow, some way, AJ Styles is going to cost LA Knight, and he bashed the hell out of him. So
he hit him very badly.
Yeah, and that's a WrestleMania match. That's a grudge match now. So now you have another match that's low or mid card that nobody should complain about. I'm sure the Garzas will face some member of the LWO as well. But I would put this on a higher level because both of these guys can be main eventers and certainly can be mid-card champions and should be in both those pictures over the next 12 months. So I thought the men's Elimination Chamber was practically perfect in both booking and execution. And again, I don't like Logan Paul personally. I mean, I don't know him, but what I know about him personally, I'm not really down with his stuff. But what he does in the ring and how he's taken this, I can't deny how natural he is. at this and how good he is. I mean, he even wrote backwards in the Elimination Chamber so that the audience can read it. To have the forethought to do that and to do it properly in the heat of the moment just shows, I mean, he thought about it, he planned it, but it didn't look contrived. And then the whole thing with the brass knuckles and Kevin Owens like going, "This is my ring," and he's there crawling around going, okay. I mean, just everything was great. He was playing the role that I thought Dominic Mysterio was going to play in this, except he was also badass, but he was mostly getting his ass kicked most of it, and that's great because he's the braggadocio heel, but he can be the one that takes a whooping for a long time, and he's still in his mind probably scored a victory even though he didn't get the title shot because he's still got a title and he knocked Randy Orton out, and now we've
now you have that match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that Kevin Owens is going to still be in that one as a triple threat, but if it's not, that's fine too.
The one thing is I disagree with that, but I do see where they can have that opening because I did see over the weekend a lot of interaction between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And it could have just been for the Elimination Chamber, or it could have easily, like I said, slide him in there because if he's not facing Logan Paul, I don't see what direction he has in WrestleMania. So it's a possibility. So we'll see. But you know what? That's it for us. Normally I go to the each show that we do, but you can follow us on social media, and you know us enough to know what's going on. Just know tomorrow is a double header for UPRE as we review the Battle of Los Angeles as well as the Sitter. Listen to him on he just said it earlier. Don't tell me this is bothering me. Don't tell me. One is Garden of Doom. Definitely listen to him on Garden of Doom, but his wrestling one is Hammerlock Hammer. I don't know how I forgot that.
I never forgot about only 3 of your cast members are on that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't remember how I don't know how I forgot that. But we're saying, we have a lot of shows. And the reason how come I say that between that and See Superior's channel as well as Unofficial Camera Woman, Big Pop Theory podcast, is because no matter who you are, I guarantee something out there, whether it's through Unpopular Review or one of his co-host subsidiaries, has something for you to listen to. We do it all here. So please go ahead and check out all of our pages. And for Evil Dose, I'm the exec consultant. And hey, it was a good show. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. And we'll see you tomorrow for the NXT review as well as UPR. Thank you so much for watching us, and have a good night.
Stay with my friends.